Usually when we talk about a mirror, there's this expectation of a really simple, harmless reflection. Like
Mm.
you look in, you see your face, you fix your hair, and you just walk away.
Right. It's just glass, you know?
Exactly. It's glass and silver backing. It's clean. It's objective.
Yeah, it's supposed to be this completely passive object that just merely reflects physical reality back at you.
But then, I mean, you step into the world of psychology and cultural conditioning, and suddenly that mirror isn't just reflecting your face anymore. It's actually speaking to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's diagnosing you. It's telling you who you are, what your value is, and like exactly how much space you're allowed to take up. So today on this deep dive, we are completely dismantling that mirror.
We really are.
Yeah. We're exploring a framework that suggests true empowerment doesn't start by fighting the external world. It starts by uprooting what happens when you actually start believing that the mirror's voice is your own.
It's a profound shift in perspective.
Yeah.
And, my goal today is just to impartially break down the philosophical architecture of this text.
Right.
We want to look at how we surrender our inner authority without taking personal stances on the broader social politics. We just want to get to the core of the source material.
And if you're listening to this and you've ever felt just totally overwhelmed by the world's expectations, this is for you. Okay, let's unpack this. Because we hear a lot about how men objectify women, right?
Oh, absolutely. The text acknowledges that this millennia-old reality of women being reduced and categorized into archetypes is completely true.
Right, but here is where this framework kind of throws a wrench in that conversation. It argues that focusing only on that external objectification leaves this massive blind spot.
Yes.
So what are we missing when we only look at the external forces?
Well, we miss the collapse of subjectivity. And subjectivity is your lived, breathing, self-determining reality.
Okay, so being a subject rather than an object.
Exactly. You are a subject experiencing the world. Objectification treats you as a thing to be solved or consumed. So the really uncomfortable question the text poses is, what happens when a woman internalizes that external diagnosis?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. When that external gaze, whether it comes from a culture, a partner, or, a parent, is absorbed without discernment, it transforms. It goes from being an outside opinion into an internal verdict.
I mean, give me an example of what that internalized verdict actually sounds like for someone in everyday life.
It sounds like your own inner monologue turning against you. It's that voice saying, I am too much, or I am not enough.
Right.
My body is a problem to be fixed, or, my desire is dangerous and needs to be hidden. What's fascinating here is that the text makes a radical claim about those thoughts.
Which,
they are not original observations.
right.
They are borrowed eyes, completely mistaken for self-knowledge.
Borrowed eyes. Okay, it's like, imagine you borrow a friend's heavily prescribed glasses, right?
Yeah.
You put them on, and instantly the whole world is blurry. You get this massive headache, you're stumbling around your living room, and instead of realizing, oh, wait, I'm wearing someone else's lenses, you mistakenly diagnose yourself with broken eyes.
That is a perfect analogy.
Like you decide your vision is fundamentally flawed. You've taken their prescription and made it your own pathology.
Yes, you're diagnosing your own eyes based on someone else's warped lenses. That is the borrowed gaze. Now, the text makes a really crucial distinction here.
Right, because we want to be careful.
Exactly. Acknowledging this borrowed gaze is not victim blaming. It doesn't erase the reality of patriarchal harm or the fact that someone, forced those glasses onto your face to begin with.
Yeah, the harm is real.
It is. But the framework posits a completely different mechanism for freedom. It says that if a woman is capable of enacting this reduction upon herself through self-invalidation,
then she inherently holds the power to stop doing it.
Exactly.
But let me push back on this a little bit because I want to look at how this plays out in real time. For you listening, think about the last time you walked into a room or a meeting and instantly adjusted your posture to make yourself smaller. Or like when you over-explained an email just to ensure no one misunderstood your tone. Isn't preemptively shrinking and diagnosing ourselves just a defense mechanism?
Oh, for sure.
Aren't we basically just trying to beat the world to the
punch?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it can't hurt us first. It absolutely starts as a survival strategy. It is highly adaptive to anticipate the blow and shrink before it lands.
Why it keeps you safe.
But a survival strategy kept long past its expiration date becomes a cage. The woman who shrinks to avoid the blow is no longer just defending herself.
What is she doing?
She has started participating in the very act being done to her. It's a preemptive form of reduction. But the beauty of this framework is that locating this mechanism inside yourself is the ultimate beginning of power.
Because no external force has access to your inner territory the way you do.
Precisely. You stop participating in your own reduction.
Right, because if you realize the glasses aren't yours, the shame of having broken eyes instantly evaporates.
Yeah.
Like you can't control the world throwing glasses at you, but you can definitely control whether you put them on your face.
You take off the lenses.
Okay, metaphysically, treating yourself as the one who gets to decide your own vision makes total sense. But if I take off these borrowed lenses, what happens next? Like, what is the actual unclouded reality underneath?
Well, this is where the text moves into an incredible metaphysical view of the feminine. It posits the feminine as the literal originating source.
Okay, explain that.
So long before modern patriarchal mythologies, where a male deity usually speaks the world into existence from above, the originating force of reality was universally perceived as feminine.
We're talking ancient cosmologies here, right?
Yes. Think of the Sumerian tradition with Namu, the primeval sea that gave birth to heaven and earth. Or the Egyptian tradition with Nun, the formless waters of creation.
Oh.
And in the Yoruba tradition, you have Ocean, the deep, sweet waters of life. And the Hindu tradition with Adi Shakti, the primordial cosmic energy. Without her, consciousness itself cannot even vibrate.
Okay, so we're not just talking about nice poetic metaphors for empowerment here.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
The source material argues this is a literal, biological, and cosmic mechanism of reality. The womb is not a metaphor.
It's a physical fact.
A physical fact. Every human who has ever lived, every conqueror, philosopher, patriarch, CEO, was literally made, held, fed, and released from the dark waters of a woman's body.
That's heavy to think about.
It is. The Creatrix is presented here as an actual operating principle of reality, the tide that builds form and the tide that dissolves it. Therefore, women are the originating subject, not a reflected object.
Here's where it gets really interesting for me, because if you are the originating source, then you aren't the image on the screen. It's like we've been conditioned for so long to think we're just these 2D characters playing out a script on a movie screen, and we completely forgot we are the cinematic projector. We're generating the light in the first place.
And that is the massive shift in identity the text calls for. There's this beautifully fierce concept here. You do not look to a mirror to understand the sun.
The sun generates the light.
Yes. The mirror merely catches a fraction of it. In this framework, the external world, including the men in it, are viewed as reflections. They are the mirror.
Right.
They provide information about what is present, including what is unintegrated or disowned within your own consciousness.
Wait, I have to stop you there and ask a really critical clarifying question. Because when we say the external world is a mirror of our unintegrated parts, people might instantly confuse this with, like, the toxic side of manifesting or the secret.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, because that can quickly sound like we are telling people they magically manifested their own trauma or abuse just by having bad thoughts. How does the text explicitly defend against that misinterpretation?
This raises an important question, because it is the exact pitfall we have to avoid. This dynamic is absolutely not about the law of attraction.
Okay.
It is not, I vibrated at a low frequency, so I deserve to be harmed. The text makes it clear that is a complete misuse of the concept.
So how does it explain the reflection then without blaming the victim?
It's phenomenological. It's about how your brain constructs your subjective experience of reality from the inside out. It's entirely somatic, meaning it lives in your nervous system and your physical body.
Okay, give me a real-world example.
For example, if you have internalized the verdict that your body is a problem, you will physically move through the world in a body that apologizes for itself.
Oh, I see.
Your posture, your boundaries, your tolerance for interrupted conversations, all of it conforms to that internalized verdict.
It's about the physical reality of how we move through space. You don't cause the initial harm or the abuser's actions, but the lens you wear kind of dictates what you accept as a normal Tuesday.
Exactly. The reflection, meaning the way the world treats you, simply shows you where you are still looking outward for a verdict that was always yours to give.
It shows you where you're still wearing the borrowed glasses.
Yes. It's about identifying the lens, not taking the blame for the person who threw the glasses at you in the first place.
Okay, so metaphysically, treating yourself as the projector or the sun makes total sense. But practically, how do you actually undo decades of wearing someone else's prescription?
Right, we need the mechanics.
Exactly, how you actually reorganize this.
That brings us to the 4 stages of alchemy outlined in the text. And let's be clear on what alchemy actually means here. Alchemy isn't erasing the base material.
Right. You don't just make the lead disappear.
No, you reorganize its essential nature into gold. You don't alchemize your internalized objectification by pretending it didn't happen, or by slapping a positive affirmation over a deep wound.
Yeah, that never works.
You have to move through it.
But push back on moving through it for me. What does that actually look like on a random Tuesday afternoon? Let's break down stage 1.
Sure. Stage 1 is recognition. This is the simple act of noticing the borrowed eye. It's that moment you catch yourself in the act of self-reduction and realize, wait, this verdict isn't original to me.
It was given, absorbed, and mistaken for truth.
Exactly.
Like, okay, imagine you're walking down the aisle at the grocery store, someone aggressively bumps your cart, and you instinctively apologize.
Yes.
Recognition is stopping in that aisle and thinking, wait, why did I just apologize for taking up physical space? These aren't my glasses.
Yeah. That pause is the very first act of self-authorship. But, you can't just stop at the mind, which is why stage 2 is somatic return.
Somatic return, meaning the body.
Right. This means re-inhabiting the flesh. We carry these verdicts physically. The mind might understand the concept, but the body remembers the verdict.
Because if a woman was told her desire was shameful, she doesn't just think it, right? She physically carries that restriction in her pelvis.
Absolutely.
Or if she was told she was too loud, she carries it as a literal tightness in her throat.
Exactly. So somatic return on that Tuesday afternoon means physically locating that objectification in your body and breathing into it.
Okay.
So if your posture collapses when your boss speaks over you, somatic return is the physical act of planting your feet, expanding your ribcage, and refusing to physically shrink.
Wow.
It is treating your body as your own sovereign territory again.
Reclaiming the actual real estate of your flesh. I love that. Which brings us to stage 3. Responsibility as power. But if stage 2 is feeling the restriction in your body, where does the power part come in? Because honestly, just noticing a tight throat sounds exhausting, not empowering.
I know it does, but the power comes from the shift in identity. Responsibility here means recognizing, I am the source, therefore I can change this current.
Oh, I see.
It's the realization that because you are the one unconsciously contracting your throat, you are also the one who can relax it. It is sovereignty made operational.
You're no longer a victim waiting for the world to permit you to speak.
No, you are the author giving yourself permission.
So what does this all mean for the final step? Stage 4 is dissolving the projection. If I had to put an analogy to this whole process, it feels like we need to upgrade the idea of return to sender.
Okay, how so?
For years, you've been treating these absorbed verdicts like a package delivered to your house. You've been opening the boxes, taking out the contents, someone else's shame, someone else's definition of you.
And arranging it in your living room like it's your own furniture.
Exactly. And dissolving the projection isn't just marking return to sender on that package.
No, it goes deeper than that.
It's realizing you own the entire postal service. Like, you stop giving the external world the authority to even deliver verdicts to your front door in the first place. You stop decorating your inner life with someone else's misplaced mail.
That is a perfect way to describe the dissolution of the projection. The external world, stops being the absolute authority. It just becomes information.
Right.
It might be useful information, but it is completely non-binding. Your entire focus shifts from how am I seen by them to what do I know to be true from within.
But I do have to ask, because this is something so many of us struggle with, is the craving for external validation just a weakness then?
Oh, that's a great question.
Because if we are the sun and we shouldn't need the mirror, why do we care so much about what the mirror thinks? Is it a character flaw to want people to like us?
No. And this framework is deeply compassionate about that. It confirms that the hunger for external validation is absolutely not a weakness.
That's a relief.
Right. It is a highly natural response to a specific deprivation. Think about it. If your inner authority was undermined early and repeatedly when you were young, you will naturally seek your sense of reality from outside yourself.
Because you were taught you couldn't trust your own assessment.
Exactly. You will need others to confirm that you exist, that you matter, that you are good.
So it's a hunger created by the wound.
Yes. But the warning here is that when this hunger runs without examination, it creates a toxic loop. You continue to give the mirror more authority than the source. You literally keep asking the mirror to tell you if the sun is shining.
Wow. So if we connect this to the bigger picture for you listening, self-validation becomes the practice of returning the authority home. And this doesn't mean you build a fortress and isolate yourself from humanity, right?
Not at all. It doesn't mean you never receive love, compliments, or affirmation from others. Those things are deeply nourishing.
Right, but there's a difference between warmth and foundation. The ultimate takeaway from this source text is that external love and validation should just be adding warmth to a house that is already built on a solid, unshakable foundation.
Hmm.
Your sovereignty, your absolute ownership of your own reality, isn't something that the outer world can grant you. It's not a prize you get when society finally changes or when bad actors finally apologize to you.
No, it's assumed.
Yes, sovereignty is assumed. It is inhabited from within. The most powerful realization here is that the outer world simply cannot sustain a projection that has been withdrawn. Once you refuse to play the 2D character on the screen, the movie has to change.
Reorganizing the field, as the text calls it. And, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, something that builds on this idea of the field reorganizing.
Okay.
We've talked deeply about the inner architecture shifting, but what happens to the broader, massive structures of our society if this happens at scale?
Oh, wow. Yeah, think about our corporate workplaces.
Or our political arenas, our consumer economies, the beauty industry, the diet industry. So much of modern society runs on the fuel of our self-doubt and our constant looping need for external validation.
It's basically their business model.
Exactly. So what happens if an entire demographic suddenly withdraws that projection? If this inward alchemy becomes widespread, what massive systemic structures might literally collapse or fundamentally transform overnight, simply because they no longer have our internalized objectification to feed on?